Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone. As I get to ride home with you in the afternoon, we are syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on the newscasters.com, all the social media sites. I have Rick Staines with me right now. Rick, I haven't been kicked off of YouTube and Facebook in several weeks. I must not be doing my job.
Yeah. That's rare for you, right?
It's very rare. You know, I told you one time, because Rick and I have been friends like a really long time. So I got in contact with you one time and said, I've been in jail. Well, you look like you would expect me to be in like jail. And what I meant was I was in Facebook jail. Not literally.
Never been in Facebook jail. I've never done anything wrong. I'm an angel, apparently. so I'm led. I don't think I am, but people certainly do think I am, and as long as they think that, that's fine.
Who cares? Who cares what people think? Well, you know what? I really did get arrested one time, and it was a charity actually. We were raising money for a nonprofit organization. And so they came and picked me up. Actually, I got arrested twice, 2 different times. And it was kind of funny because the lady who picked me up was a cop. And so she had me in the back seat. And I said, can I just sit in the front seat with you? I said, because my sister gets rumors out on me all the time. Now, this is going to be another rumor. And she said, no, they told us we got to put you guys in the back seat. And I said, well, okay. Well, guess what? There was a wreck. She had to stop for the wreck.
Right.
And there I am in the back seat. And I said, please let me get in the front seat. I said, people have been passing by. My sister's going to pass by. The rumor's going to get started again. And but anyway, it was a fun cause. We raised a whole lot of money. I was calling everybody I knew saying, look, I wasn't really arrested in case you've heard that rumor. I'm raising money.
Well, I was really arrested.
You were?
In England. A long time ago. Yes.
Well,
I was like 17 years. I was just being, you do stupid things when you're 17.
Yes.
I did a stupid thing when I was 17, and I got arrested. But the police are so much nicer in the UK. I mean, even after the event, I was given a fine, and I decided in my infinite wisdom not to pay the fine. I was like halfway through it and decided, you know what? And I got a letter from the police saying, like, you got 7 days to come to the station, otherwise we're going to come knock on your door and arrest you. So I thought, that's very nice. So I went down to the station. I walked in there going like, hey, Rick, how you doing? You nicked. It all got sorted out. And it actually, the one thing that I will say about it is, it was a very definitive time for me, because it made me realize that I didn't want to go down that path. So for me, it was a change of direction. I moved away and completely changed, because the people I was hanging around with were kind of that was the issue. So there was some positives that come out of it, but at the time, I thought I was like, one of the cool guys until you actually go to court. And when I went back after the non-payment of fine, the judge actually said to me, he goes, why didn't you pay the fine? And I said, do you want me to be honest? And he said, yeah. So I told him honestly. He's like, well, he's an honest man. Have you got anything today that you want to pay? I said, yeah, I paid up. So it was like £140. So I had 90. I said, here's 90, which for me back then was a lot of money. So I gave it. They gave me a receipt, and he said, right, let me just have a look. And he came in. He said, he goes, okay. And this is what changed everything. He said, you've got £50 left to pay. I'm going to give you 1 month. If you don't pay this in 1 month, I'm going to send you to jail. Not just the jail at the police station, the proper prison. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You saw.
And then it was my first offence, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with this game. I'm done with this. So I went out and I worked and paid it off, and never looked back.
Well, you know what? Of course, I'm older than you are, but what I'm talking about is from our age range. We were actually brought up that there would be consequences for things you did, and you would suffer a consequence. One time, I got into trouble in school, and it was because I was talking with my friend, and so the teacher said, "Next time, I'm telling your parents." I didn't want to tell my parents, for goodness sakes, so I didn't do it again. I was just like, okay, I'm reformed. And so, but there was a consequence back then. And folks are raising their kids like time out. Now, I don't believe in beating your kids to death. I'm not talking about that. But a nice little swap on the rear end, I think, is pretty good every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But as far as people saying, no, I don't touch my kids, we do time out. Has that paid off in the past 2 generations?
No, not at all. And I think, the thing with me is because my stepfather, who was in my life at that time, he was a great believer in, if you do something, then you go down that road. That's your journey. That's how you learn, and you face the consequences for that. I got kicked off a school bus for bad mouthing the driver, and I had to walk home. When I got home, he said, "Why are you walking home?" I said, "Well, because," and he was a bus driver. He said, "He goes, well, you bad mouthed the driver. Did you learn something?" "Yeah, I'm not going to do it again," because I had to walk home. Same with all this stuff. Once they realised what happened, because I had to come clean. And he said, "Have you learned anything?" Because it's always like, "Have you learned anything from this?" Mm-hmm. And so it was a sit down. So in those, so we went through that whole process because all the consequences were on me. No, I mean, I dealt with that all on my own. I didn't let them know that I was going back, and I didn't want that family support because I'd messed up the second time. I hadn't done something I should have done. It was for me to face it on my own, and I did. And I faced the consequences, and I got over that, and then just moved on. But that's in that generation. I don't know if they do that now. I doubt it.
Do you remember Judge Sam Monk? He was in the Anniston area. Wound up being a judge. He was an attorney for a number of years. He was one of my clients.
Right.
And actually, he owned the building Bell South was in, Bell South Mobility, and I was their competitor. And so I said, I would have thought you would have bought your cell phones from them. And, since you're renting that, and there's no telling how much money you made off of them. But anyway, he dealt with me. But I asked him a question one time. I said, because you've been a judge for a long time. And I said, what's the difference just in that generation? That was like in the 90s, the year 2004, something like that. When we had the show, it was around 2005. And so he was on the show, and I was asking him about that. And he said, it's huge. And I said, well, what happened? And he said, people stopped spanking their kids. Mm-hmm. And now I'm having to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is the government got involved. The government and the legal system got involved.
Yeah.
And that's not just here, that's everywhere. And then so when you did later on try to admonish your kids, and, they go like, oh, you can't hit me. It's assault. They went, it's all down like that very woke avenue that we're now in back then. And so, and then that's what we have the society now where they've never been spanked. They've never suffered consequences of being bad. They've just been allowed to do it. And I watch it all the time because staying at this hotel, so we've been at this hotel for 2 months now. So every weekend you get a group of kids coming in sports. And the other weekend, it was crazy. I've never seen this before. So the kids were running riot. They were running riot on like the 8th floor, the 10th floor, down in the lobby. In the lobby, we had parents bringing their coolers down. This is a hotel, bringing their coolers down, sitting in the hotel lobby with their chairs that they take to the games, and all drinking just in the lobby. And then actually on the 10th floor, everybody would come out of the room and put the chairs out, and we're just like letting the kids run up and down the corridor, and all their chairs were in the corridor and they were drinking beer and everything else. And this is why you got kids that are just not going to grow up to be good adults, because you're allowing them to do the things they shouldn't be doing. I get having fun, but then there's other people in this hotel that you've got to take into consideration, and the hotel itself, which has to go clean up after all of this mess, and then deal with the complaints from the residents that are here that are not involved in that party. And again, it all comes from this bad parenting.
Mm-hmm. It is, and then we talk about the rent-a-mobs, the people like the Fergusons and stuff like that, things that happen, with college kids get out. They have to, I don't even know if they even know what the cause is they're demonstrating for. And I believe you can demonstrate, in a nice way. I don't think you have to like tear other people's property up.
I agree. I mean, what we're seeing right now with the whole ICE thing. I mean, even with the protests they had, no king, the no King Day, and they were all paid people. They were just paid to go out there and demonstrate, and most of them didn't know what they were demonstrating for. They're asking questions, and they go, "Oh, well, we don't want no king." Well, you haven't got a king. You haven't had a king since before you got independence. You understand that? And they don't. And the trouble is that's why we have this one side of the house that are literally dumb as rocks. They literally verbatim believe everything that they're force-fed and regurgitate to you. And when you try and point out the error of their thinking, they're like, "That's not true. That's not true. That's not right." And then if they can't, then they get violent. If they can't argue with it, they get violent.
And they get upset, or they start crying. And they'll do videos of crying, that they're really upset. But the whole thing about the no king thing, I mean, if Trump really was a king, he would have demanded, he would have had off with their heads, and all the people who demonstrated out there would have been killed, wouldn't they? I mean, isn't that what they did during the olden days?
Yeah, and then just turn around and said, okay, yeah, we're going to be collecting taxes off of everybody now. Instead of giving you all these beneficial tax things, whatever, I'm going to collect more taxes because I need them as king for my kingdom. And so, a little bit by even the Brits. I mean, the stuff that they were fighting for was actually costing them more than what the Brits were trying to tax them way back then. And you are so stupid.
Well, I mean, even if you were on the fence about this stuff, and you really in your head, because you've been force-fed and told that Trump's trying to be a king, after the event, that should have been a light for you. I mean, it should have been, I guess he's not a king. I mean, he didn't put us all in jail and stuff.
Yeah, and it's even like the big, beautiful bill, where people have taken what's in there and they've listened to what people are telling them is in there instead of reading what's in there and then coming up with the same conclusion that they've been force-fed this stuff. And you go so our Medicaid's being cut. Yeah, Medicaid's being cut to people that don't deserve it or don't need it.
Yeah, the people who are using it as this is what I do with my job in life.
Yeah, it's not being cut to the people that actually require it. It's like a lot of things. I mean, there's so much, ambiguity that's pushed out by the other side, or they make it right. Well, this is what it is, and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So you go look, and it's like the other day with the Epstein list, because they come up and said that the Epstein list doesn't exist. And I was thinking about it, and then I was watching a show, and someone said, well, if it was that bad, if they had Trump that bad in the Epstein list, you think that they would have thrown that in to the hat?
A long time ago, that would have been
right. So he actually came out and said, don't believe everything you're told. This is another ruse, like the Russiagate stuff, like everything else, from the left to create an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that makes perfect sense to me. If you're a lateral thinker, if you think, and also a logical thinker, if you think about it, I'm like, yeah, because this has been going on for a long time. Okay, I still don't get the whole didn't he kill himself, because where he was, there's cameras, and he was on suicide watch and everything else, and they just happened to not be there, and the cameras happened to broke down. Yeah, that's too much of a coincidence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't know why. Well, why would they shut him down? Well, maybe that was the left didn't want him to speak anyway, because he would have known that the list doesn't exist. Who knows? I mean, it's just one of those things. But you take what you can out of it. You have to do some investigation. Don't believe what you've been told about it. Do your own research.
And another thing, you just have to have common horse sense. It's like, Trump's on the list. Trump's on the list. If he really were, that would have been, instead of going through all this, having him arrested and all that would have been out there years ago. When he first started running for president.
Yeah.
It would have been, and they always said, we got the smoking gun on him this time. That would have been the smoking gun if that were true.
Every single time that this comes up, he's like, well, he's on the list. Yeah, so a bunch of other people. But did he visit the island? He knew Epstein did. So then when he said that the other day, well, is the list actually real? And Pam Bondi comes out and says, no, it doesn't actually exist, because, again, when they did their stuff and she's now going into the election stuff. That's why she wants to get this done and out of the way, because she's concentrating on the election and the election report. you start asking questions. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe it is just another one of those things that they put out there, and again, even with the Kennedy stuff, they let some of it out, but they didn't let everything out. So you're still kind of like, So is it something else that the left fabricated? Because you can go back to, I was watching something today about Obama, about his passport, and about was it Brennan, who worked for a company that went in, they broke into the passport office and got everything fixed up so that, it looked like he was a US citizen, and everybody was, oh yeah, yes. No, he's not. We know that. But again, that's the left doing what they do best, which is subterfuge and denial and trying to blame everybody else.
Well, and you always have to wonder about Obama's kids. Are they really? I mean, why are there no pictures? I mean, even I did, and I'm nowhere near the celebrity that is, but I remember when I was pregnant with Brad. I mean, there are pictures of me when I was pregnant. Why are there no pictures of Michelle Obama pregnant?
Because we know that. We know why. But, until it actually comes out and someone actually says what everybody knows and thinks they know, if you, again, depending on if you're, a critical thinker and you look at what you're being given and the evidence that of, and even the slip-ups, that have been made by him and by her live while doing recordings, makes you wonder why people don't already know why there was no baby pictures, because they didn't have birth to those.
Well, it's kind of like this. Joan, I can't think of her name, comedian, Joan Rivers. Okay, so she was being interviewed about that, and she said everybody knows, that Obama was the first gay president.
Yep.
And then everybody knows Michelle is a tranny. Mm-hmm. And then the person interviewing her said, "She's what?" And she said, "She's a transgender." Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, she said that, and then she comes up, dead. And then there's a photo of the guy who practically killed her, like holding her head, like laughing at her being dead. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you don't go against them.
No, but I mean, and I think with all of the stuff that's come up, I mean, even now, I mean, I was looking at something about 9/11. It's like 9/11 is still a perpetual, and you've got the 50-50 like split, and people like going on about, the buildings came down because of the jet fuel, and you go like, okay, obviously you're just stupid.
That's a lot of building to come down from jet fuel. That's a lot of building.
Did you see the video on I said, well, if you go back, I said the video was like, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that you did, what you thought you saw, you didn't see, and yeah, there was a lot of stuff that went on that day. I said there was camera shifts. There was like they went from a live feed to a delayed feed. Mm-hmm. I said, but you just got to look at like we've discussed before, the big picture. And the big picture is there was money involved, a lot of money involved, mm-hmm. and they wanted to do certain things to not just go to war. They wanted to bring in this whole Homeland Security Act and enact that and do that. And then and you're given all this.
Staging. Like when you're selling your house, you stage your house so that the person who's buying the house don't see you and your stuff in it. They see them and their stuff in it.
Yeah. So it's like, the passport, the only passport that was found unburned. This whole thing blew up, burnt a whole building down, brought a whole building down. Well, actually, there was 2 buildings brought down, and the only thing they found was an engine that didn't actually match the aircraft that was supposed to have hit the actual trade center, and a passport with no burn marks on it, nothing. It was just a perfect passport, and you go like, okay, and we're supposed to buy this. We're supposed to soak this up and believe that this is actually true. Mm-hmm. Then when you go to watch the one that crashed into the field, there's no debris, there's no bodies, there's no debris, there's no cases, there's no paper, there's no luggage, there's nothing, there's no chairs, there's no bits of aircraft, just a hole. And they're going, yeah, we'll just disintegrate. Same with Washington and the Pentagon. The cameras are all turned off, and this thing was supposed to have come like that low. And you look at all the light of the lampposts that were still up, and you go like, how? And this, uh-huh. And then the size of the hole. And if you look at the pictures immediately after the explosion, and I've seen them, there's no wing marks, there's no tailplane marks. there's a nice hole, and it's about 14, 16 feet, and the top part is still on the building and collapsed at that point. And you're going like, a plane did not hit that building. Where are the parts? Where are the bits and pieces that you would get? Because there would be some seating, there would be some outside wreckage, some body parts, some fuselage, some wings, some engines, some wheels. You'd see all of that. It doesn't just disintegrate into a hole.
I was looking at a documentary one time about plane crashes. And so they were showing various crashes, and it was terrible. It was before the cleanup came out. You would see body limbs on trees hanging, just bits and pieces of bodies, just on odd places like on trees and what have you. That's a real plane crash right there.
Yeah. I mean, even Lockerbie. When that was a sanitized scene. By the time that the reporters got there and the news crews got there, the US had already been in there and cleaned it up because there was DEA agents on that plane. Mm-hmm. And that was taken out specifically because they were targeted, but they went and done the cleanup before you saw anything else, because that's what they do. The authorities do that. They want to guide you where they want you to go. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to guide you where they want you to go.
Well, people don't take notice on things that just seem a little out of place, So we were in New York on one of Phil's birthday, so we went to New York. And so we got on the plane and we noticed it was almost empty. Very few people on it. And then I saw folks who looked like they would be airline pilots. There were a few of them scattered out. And I saw no one that looked, I don't know how we got on this plane. I don't know. And then, so the plane takes off, and it's a bumpy ride. It's a beautiful, clear day outside. There's no storms, no rain, no nothing. And so I believe this is this guy's first flight. I really do. And so I told Phil, I said, Phil, I don't know how we got on this flight, but something's not right about it. I said, look, it's not crowded. Look, there's a pilot right here. There's a pilot right here. There's like there were 4 pilots, 2 in front and 2 behind us. We were kind of in the middle. And now there were a few other people that could have been passengers, but I'm telling you, it was not a full plane ride. So we get off, and I said, I'm going to look at the cockpit. So we got off, and I'm looking up, and there was a young guy, and he had a cloth, and he was doing this for it. I said, it was the first flight.
Yeah, you were guinea pigs. There you go.
Yeah, well, people don't notice things. It's like you got to notice things.
Mm-hmm.
Something is kind of like you've always taught this. Okay, so you've been in the security business for a very, very long time. And there was a time, like we worked at the mall, there was a time I just run out the car and not even think of anything going home. And I remember you saying, be aware of your surroundings. Mm-hmm. And be aware of the way you hold yourself. If you walk around like the world is against me, one of those, you're going to be a prime target. Somebody's going to get you. But if you walk around, I remember you told me one time, you said, I wouldn't attack you. You said, if you just walk around straight, like you got a purpose in life,
Yeah, you don't look like a victim. Yeah, the thing is not looking like a victim. And it's been proven. It's actually been, justified. The predators that are actually in prison, they say, why did you go for that particular person? They said, because they look like the weaker of the herd. So what they're doing is they take the herd mentality, and when they see the weakest one, they'll separate them from the herd. That's what they want. They want to separate from the herd so the herd can't help. The herd can't hear them, and then they attack. So when you're looking down and you're not part of the herd, you could still be like an independent. You can still walk around, but you just have to look around and keep your head up, make eye contact. So one thing they don't want you to do is make eye contact. It's easy these days because they walk around with their little masks on, being anti like hardcore. But the thing is you still make eye contact, and that's the most important thing. If you're going anywhere, it's like just look someone in the face, because if they don't want you to recognize them and they've got nothing on, they're going to look away real quick, because they don't want that identification. So I always tell people, just look them in the face.
Okay, what about the people who are just walking down the street? They don't look like there's anything wrong with them. They're not a victim, but they're doing this all the time. They're watching a movie with their. I've seen people actually run into buildings doing this, like walking, just like slam into a building. So they're doing this. Aren't they also a target?
Yep. Because so now if you go to Europe, you'll find that, you know, a lot of people don't walk around with their phones out. You know, their phones will be like it'd be hidden away because the phone, they know about the phone snatching. My son will not walk along with his phone out. He won't answer it. And if he stops to answer his phone, he puts the wall against it so he can see and no one can come from behind.
Uh-huh.
So always put, it's like, if anything, put a wall against you so that no one can come behind you. Okay? Because when I used to do karate a long time ago, one of the katas was actually, you know, sideways and forward slightly, sideways, but it's always fighting against the wall. So it's like you were fighting with the wall against your back. So you've got a protection of your back. And you can use the wall as part of the weapon. So because you always pull somebody into the wall, hit the wall, the wall hits them, you know, and hurts them. You don't have to do that. The wall does the damage. And I've done that. And it's actually kind of like, the guy was like messed up after 3 hits of the wall. He couldn't fight me anyway because his shoulders were mashed up, his face was all mashed up. And I said, he goes, well, that wasn't karate. I said, did you hit me? And he's like, no. I said, well, then I did my job. I stopped you from hitting me. And I messed you up at the same time without actually punching you once. So use what's around you too. I mean, it's not a case of just being aware, but use what's around you. I mean, if you've got a wall, use the wall. If they're going to punch you, move to the side. If you can move to the side, they punch the wall. That's done. That's it. You know?
It's just not paying attention. I have seen so many people. Okay, let's talk about people who get ripped off monetarily. Okay, so I have seen people at a department store, and they're talking to somebody, and they have their card out. Let's find a business card. Okay, so this is somebody's credit card. They're doing like this, talking. Well, I got a camera phone. All I got to do is take a picture of your card. I mean, and then I can go rip you off to no end. And then also people, there's somebody, I mean, I have literally turned around at somebody and told them to step back. Like I would be paying for a transition. And so I put the card in there and I'm even doing this. And it's almost like this person is over my shoulders looking at my card.
Right.
So I will say step back.
Well, so the other thing that you said there, yeah, I mean, because you've got a valid point. The cards can be read, but the other thing that you have to do, and so I'll take my wallet out. Now this wallet, just a very simple wallet, is RFID. So this does not allow any cards to be read while they're in the wallet, because all these cards now have your little tap. So you've got this one not so much because I haven't got anything on that one. But normally they have that little thing on. I'll take an American Express, where they say where it's like that. So they have that little thing there, right? They can scan that. They can scan that. If it's in your back pocket, if it's not an RFID wallet, they can scan that and get all the information on with certain equipment. So this goes in my RFID wallet. They can't scan it.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, people who have these okay, back of your cell phone. These people who have these little pockets, and it's handy for me to keep my business cards in it. Okay, so when I'm out and about and I'm running into somebody goes, I can say, here's one of my cards, you know, and I'm done with it. But I've seen a lot of people who actually keep their credit cards in it. Mm-hmm. Good idea or bad idea?
It depends. I mean, if it's anything that has RFID protection on it is a good idea because it will stop anybody from reading that. But it's got to cover the whole card. If that chip or anything that the RFID signal is coming out of, then they can read it.
Yeah, that's not going to cover the whole card. I'm talking about if somebody takes your phone and runs with it, they've got all of you right there. Yeah. Not only information about you, but they've also got your credit card.
Yeah. So this is the other thing I travel with. This, right? This is my little. It's a detector. So when I'm in a hotel room, I turn it on. It's got four different things on this. So pick up if there's anything transmitting in here. So if there's a camera, wireless camera, it will pick it up. So Wi-Fi, then there's another one, and then also if there's a camera in here, I can put that up. That goes to the eye, and then I've got the UV lights there, and I can see, because if you see a lens, like if you do it on the little eye hole on the door, you get like a reflection because it's a lens. So if there's any hidden lenses, you'll see a little glint, even in a mirror, like TV. I pick it up, and it was like $30.
That's a cool little thing to have. What's it called?
It's just this is literally. I'll send you the link. it's just literally a detector.
You have to know. Really, we are gadget people, like
Yeah, I mean, you just carry it. I mean, I do a sweep every time they clean my room. I do a sweep just to make sure that nothing's put on it. And the obvious places like the mirrors, the TV, any of the lamps, the thermostat, the smoke detector, the fire alarm, even the sprinkler valve. Because they can all hide camera. You can put camera anywhere these days. And I just like skip around. If there's anything, just that little thing there, just like it'll tell you. Just pick it up, it'll tell you it's there, and then you can zoom in on it, and basically the closer you get to it, the stronger the signal. So there you go.
I got to get one of those things. Yeah, send me the link. Okay, folks, we've got to go into a commercial break. Over half the show is already over, so let's go to a break. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of the Cobb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, folks, we're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone. As we get to ride home with you in the afternoon, we have another new sponsor, and we got like great sponsors. My Patriot Supply. And this is where you can find foods that and these foods will last, by the way, 30 years. And I'll tell you why I know this works, because I actually have some of the equipment myself where I can preserve foods. And so I did just a little sample thing of this last year. And so I found some raspberries that we had off of the raspberry bushes, and also got some blueberries. And I dehydrated those, and I put them in these little phyllo bags. And then I opened one up like a year later, and it was just as fresh as whatever. But these things the food will last over 30 years. So if you're looking for a way to preserve food, or you're looking for a way to buy food already preserved, go to My Patriot Supply, and you'll be glad that you did. Also wanted to thank Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used Car Sales. He's in Gadsden, Alabama. Has folks all over the country buying cars from him now. And wanted to thank Bobby for staying with me. Bobby has been a sponsor for about 8 years. Definitely appreciate that. And Bobby, again, thank you so much. I'm there in his area in Gadsden, Alabama once a month, every third Monday of the month, and I always look forward to seeing all those folks down there. But again, thank you so much for sticking with us. We definitely appreciate that. You know something? We have another sponsor, Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. He's in Henniger, Alabama, and you guys have he couldn't figure it out. He said, we always ask customers how they found out about us. And he said, we have people from all over the country coming by, like going on vacations, a lot of them going to Mentone, Alabama from up north, and they'll stop by and see him. So I guess that's why he stuck with us. So go ahead and check him out. Wherever you're coming in from, you're going on vacation, stop by and see Lamone's Mexican Restaurant located in Henniger, Alabama. I have Rick Staines with me right now. And Rick and I have been friends for a really long time. We pick on each other sometimes. So I will say this. He bakes the best chocolate cakes ever.
That was a long time ago. Come on. Long time ago.
Maybe one of those chocolate cakes too.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, he's talking about like restaurants and giving good kudos. So we found a little restaurant here called Christopher's on the Hill. And it's one of those ones that it's not like widely advertised or anything like that. And it's just breakfast and lunch. So the last time my wife was in town, we went up there and she's like, well, there's no ratings. I'm like, I don't care. We're going to go eat breakfast because I'm tired of the hotel breakfast. We went in there. It's a little Hispanic couple. And I was blown away. It was nice. It was actually a quiet day, which was nice. But all the food came out fresh, and I spoke to her, and she said, "Oh, he's very particular. He cooks everything fresh. All the meat. There's nothing frozen. Everything is fresh." And so I went away and I did a Google. I did a Google review.
Yeah.
And I followed that up. Follow again, and I had the Meat Lovers omelette, which comes with breakfast potatoes and toast. So good. But the best one, I had that the other day, was it's called a protein omelette, which is beef. And it's all real tender beef and cheese. And you can choose whatever cheese you want in. My friend had feta cheese in his. I had just regular cheese. So good. But the difference between the first time I went there and the last time I went there is the number of people in there. Because the reviews are big. I mean, I've got so many hits on the reviews because people are actually reading them and then coming there because I put a picture of the actual plate and then a picture of the empty plate saying, this is so damn good. Go eat there. And she's loving it. I mean, she's just like so thankful. But you know what? When you've got like a place where you know you can go and eat good food, it's fresh, great service. Yeah, just get it out there. Let people know about it because it's like, especially for this local community.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And like Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, they have this lunch special that they actually carry through dinner as well. It's only $7. And they give you so much food, you'll be carrying some of it home, and it includes the drink. And it's only $7.
Right. I mean, $15 for me for an omelet, for the potatoes, for the toast and coffee, compared to downstairs here, it's $25 for the buffet, which is it's okay. You know, I paid for 2 people the other day. It was $36 all in, and I'm like, that's actually pretty good because we're talking about traveling. I'm spending a lot of money on food every day because I'm living in a hotel room, so I basically eat out all the time. Mm-hmm. So we've got to find these nice places because some of the places I came to 2020, 2021, they've gone downhill a bit. So I went to one the other day. It was Murphy's Irish Pub, lovely, nice pub, but their breakfast used to be superb. absolutely horrible last week when I was there. Ugh.
Why is that happening? Is it a lack of, and this is another thing I'm trying to figure out too. In Albertville, Alabama, okay, it's growing, doing a really good thing. And of course, they keep adding restaurants and what have you. And the people who own restaurants are having a hard enough time keeping employees. So why would you open up a restaurant if all the restaurants are having such a hard time keeping employees? I'm just trying to figure out why you would.
I don't know. But it's also, you know, when you start delivering substandard food, I mean, when you've hit the target before, like their breakfast used to look really good. They had what they call an Irish breakfast, so it's very much like an English breakfast, just their little twist on it, with, you know, proper bacon. Like they actually cooked their tomato. They fried their tomatoes were actually very good. And this time I'm getting like bacon that it was flat and limp and lifeless and colorless, and it's like the Canadian bacon. Mm-hmm. I mean, like the British rashers. Whereas last time they were like they looked like proper rashers. These ones looked like they were dead. The tomatoes weren't cooked properly. There was a couple of redeeming features in the sausage and I like blood pudding, and they were really good. But the rest of it was just a letdown. And you go like, well, is it the chef? Now, I went to a place in England once where the owner said to me on the second night we're there, I was going to have the same dish that I had the night before because it was so good. He said, have the fish and chips. So I had the fish and chips. Didn't want the fish and chips, but I had the fish and chips. And a piece of cod came along with about that big and that fat, and it was so flaky. And my camera's just messing around now. So the fish was so flaky and so good. And I said to him, "What's the secret here?" And he goes, "We haven't changed the chef for 35 years."
Bingo.
There's your point.
Bingo. Let me tell you something else I notice about businesses. Okay, some folks say, well, I'm not a big business. I'm just a mom and pop. You can beat the mom and pops. I know you can, because this is how you can do it. And it's based on nothing but customer service. And that's just when, and you got to train all of your employees now to do the same thing you do. Okay, when a customer walks in your door, I don't care how busy you are, how crowded it is, spend 2 seconds to look up at the person who walks in the door and say, hi, thank you for coming in. I'll be with you in just a few minutes. Yep. I have actually waited an hour before simply because someone looked up and noticed me walk in the door.
They acknowledged that they acknowledged that you were there. That's the first thing. It's acknowledging that you were there. I mean, an hour, that's a long time to wait, especially these days. I mean, the other week I went downstairs and I walked to the far corner. They saw me walk past, they said hello to me, and then I sat there for about 20 minutes. And then I got up and moved. He goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I just saw you move. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I would like to eat if you've got a menu. And at that point, he's like, okay, I'm really sorry, very apologetic. So again, there's a point where you go like, okay, I like being acknowledged, but don't just leave me hanging. And, it'd be different if it was really busy, but when really busy and it's just because they've got people that they're talking to and it's kind of like getting flirty because it's a girl, a female, whatever, you go like, come on, just do your job. I mean, that'd be nice, just do your job,
how do you feel like when you walk into a place of business and you can tell the person who's working there hates their job? They hate it. I mean, it's so obvious, just the little things they do and they're playing on their phone, stuff like that.
Yeah, on their phone, not paying attention, not looking around the room to see if anybody needs anything. Their head down, they're kind of like quiet as well, just like slovenly. Not really, they're completely disinterested. So there's almost like a disengagement there too. So you got no engagement from them. And you get some people that are just like, they're live wires. I've got a couple of live wires that work for me, and they're older ladies, but they're great fun. And you can just see they engage with everybody. They want to talk, and that's what people love, human interaction. Mm-hmm. I mean, so there are some people that don't, and that's fine. But most of us actually want human interaction. When we go somewhere, if I'm here, I'm in this room, 12 hours, sometimes 12 hours a day before seeing anybody. So when I go downstairs, it's nice to actually get to talk to a human being and interact with that human being, because it makes you feel like you're actually human and not some kind of like prisoner and you're locked away in solitary confinement for 12 hours a day.
Mhm.
You know, so we do like as a species that human interaction. It makes us feel alive.
Well, do you feel we're missing that? I mean, with social media being such a big part of most people's lives.
I think, yeah, because there's more of a, you know, even when it becomes like a very personal thing when you meet people now, you know, it's always nice when you go somewhere where you're part of if you're part of the group, part of that team, if you like, and you're accepted. You know, now you have to be so careful. When walking around here with some of my Patriot shirts on, I would worry, and I did worry the other day. I wore one. I'm like, I'm either going to get smacked in the face or stabbed because someone's going to be offended by it.
Uh-huh.
So we live in kind of a world where it's nice to get out and talk to people, but we also have to be very careful on who we talk to and how we talk to them and what we say these days, because it's just that kind of world.
Yeah, but the media messes us up, and this is why they do it, and you know this. Okay, so I mean, there have been transgenders, there have been gay, lesbian people around forever. I mean, it's just the way it's always been. And we would just, and there was somebody I would know they were a transgender. I knew they were, but I was nice to them. They were nice to me. Now I didn't go overboard, making sure I didn't hurt their feelings either.
Right.
So really, most of the gay people I know don't want to be singled out. They want to be treated just like you would treat a straight person. They don't want that. It's the media and the goofy people who are in office who are causing all of this.
You're right. I mean, if you interact now, there are certain elements that if you interact with them and you say the wrong thing, then it's going to go sideways really quickly. But the majority of people, I mean, I know loads of people that are, you know, and I don't care about their sexual orientation. And that's, you know, this whole thing about sexual orientation or what you want to do in your private life, no one cares. Most of the time, no one cares. It only becomes a problem when you're trying to get everybody to accept it and make changes and accept you completely and give you preference to everything else. And it shouldn't be like that. If you want to be accepted, we accept you for who you are. But you're not going to be raised up. You're not going to be pushed to one side and go like, okay, we're going to keep you special over here. No, you're a human being. We treat you like a human being and you'll join the human race. That's what you're part of. But all this special treatment, no, shouldn't happen. And then, you know, if anything comes with like money attached to it and it gets stopped because people are using it for a slush fund, they think, oh, they've been directly hit. You go, no, it's just that certain people will create that just so that they can make money. They're not going to give it to you. They're not going to give it to anybody of that orientation, but they're going to filter it out somewhere and it's going to go elsewhere.
Don't get me started on that. I must tell you, I was watching, okay, you know, I love animals. I mean, I would have a zoo here if Phil would be okay with it. But I was watching a commercial one time, and I'm not even going to give them the credence to who they are. And so it was poor, pitiful dogs and cats crying. They're in cages. They're shaking. They're all skinny and all this kind of stuff. And but they want you to give them money, just $20 a month. Mm-hmm. If everybody just gives them $20 a month, and I was about ready to write a check, and I thought, no, wait a minute. So I got my cell phone out, and I put the salary of the CEO, and then I put this company's name in here. The dude makes about $1.2 million a year. Then that's not it. That's not all of it. Then he has a board of directors. Each one of them make about $800,000 a year. And then it goes on down. You can find this really easily on the internet. It's public knowledge. And I'm thinking, they can do without my $20. They need to spend some of that money on these animals. And this is another thing they say. They say, we'll send you a brochure of the pet that you're helping. It's all manufactured. They've got one pet, probably don't even have any pets they're taking care of. There's probably one poor dog or cat, whichever you say you like the best, dog or a cat. And they're handing that one leaflet out to everybody. Yep. Give local.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you totally. I mean, the non-profits are completely different from what you think they are, because they are making a profit because they have people sitting at the top being paid a lot of money.
Why?
You know, so when you work out how much of your money is actually going to the charity itself, actually going to the people that need it, it's very minimal. I mean, luckily, sometimes, you know, it's pennies. It's pennies. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I if I'm going to donate, I want to donate directly. but most of the time I don't. I don't donate because I don't know where the money's going. Well, I know where the money's going. I just don't want it to go to that person.
Well, and I like to, even if it's a local charity, I like to visit it. Okay, especially if it's an animal shelter, are they mistreating the animals? I mean, take a look at the animals so they look healthy. So before I donated to the local charity, I went and paid up a visit, and I looked and I liked what I saw. And so I said, I was about to give $20, to this nationwide thing until I checked on the board of directors and the CEO. And so I just gave them.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep unwanted pets off of my street.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be on my street.
No, I mean, and that makes perfect sense. But I mean, doing that, going to a local charity, you can actually see the work that your money is helping with. And, especially if it's, there's no one driving big fast cars, fancy cars, they've got fancy offices. They're living in a shack and they're just looking after animals, but the animals are actually living better than the humans that actually work there. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, I can buy into that. But, the rest of them, it's like the healthcare as well, You pay into all this healthcare and all the healthcare. It's like even with these strikes, the people that are actually running the hospital are making lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so is it fair? No, it's not fair. But that's life, and business and how you run business and how businesses pay people are not fair.
Okay. All right. Think about this because you've been in business a long time. Okay. So let's just say you own a business. Okay. And you run it like the government runs the government business. Okay. You really don't have a budget. I mean, you just throw the money around all over the place. Somebody helped get you elected, so you're going to make sure that they're getting a salary of $200,000 a year. I mean, all these little special interest things, you got to make sure these people have been paid now. You won't get voted back in again. They won't donate to your run for whatever it is you're running for. Okay. I mean, those things are important to know.
Yeah. I mean, when it happens, and unfortunately it happens, it's so common now. People just we just accept the fact that you look at half the politicians, how did they get in to
some of them I'm just like, how did you get into
office? Because I mean, take for instance, is it Mandani, the guy in New York right now? Okay. And what it is just people just they're like, we don't want anything to do with Trump, we don't want anything to do with the Republicans, we're just going to go with this person here. Okay, do you understand what he's going to do to New York? Are you really ready for this? Because once it happens, I guarantee it's going to be very, very hard to switch in.
Can't get rid of them.
Nope.
They are in for life. I'm just telling you, and I've seen people, and I ask people all the time, first of all, a lot of people don't vote, and I can't believe this. I think you should vote. But anyway, you'll say, if someone voted for, say, Susie Smith and his dog catcher, okay, well, did you find out, did you meet with Susie Smith? Have you heard anything about Susie Smith's life? I mean, what are her core values? Any of those things? Well, no, I was just going down the road one day and Susie Smith spoke to me, so I thought I'd just go ahead and vote for her. That's the dumbest. I have heard that so many times. Well, they spoke to me at church.
Mm-hmm. Or they make one valid point that brings you in. It's a bait and switch. They bring you in with this one valid point that they may bring up, and then they go look. You look at the Labour government in the UK right now. So, Keir Starmer was going to do this, he was going to do this, and they were going to fix all this, and they were in there 3 weeks, and they made a bigger mess of it than the Conservatives did, and stop winter fuel payments for old people, and then turn around and go like, oh yeah, we've got this $20 million budget where we need to, but you're taking the coal payments away from these old age pensioners and not caring if they freeze to death in the winter. But you're telling everybody you've got this. Oh, we've got this $20 million budget we can spend, or we're giving money to the Ukraine. Actually, in the same week they signed a deal. It was stupid. It was like so many billions of pounds to the Ukraine for a set amount of time. It's like, okay, who's important? Okay, we have, at least now we have a president. Yeah, he's saying running the gauntlet, who is more interested in doing things for the US people than for those people that are in power.
It's pretty nice. Let me ask you this question. What do you say to the people who are just now figuring out there was something wrong with Joe Biden?
welcome to the party. Yeah, you're welcome to the party. You're a little bit late, but we saw it way earlier than you did. I mean, come on. I mean, and people still trying to defend it. Still put, oh, he was the greatest president ever. What planet were you on for the last 4 years?
The greatest is spending money and almost killing us all. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you call that success, yeah.
It's just the border alone. I mean, and then people going on about the money that's being spent on this and the big new deal and all that. Okay, but look at what they did to our money with the last administration. Just look at the money. Just look at the stuff that he wanted to do. And they're talking about Trump being a dictator. No, I think maybe you've got it wrong. That maybe the other side. One of the biggest things is you got given somebody who was told this is the person we're going to have running for president, and you didn't put a vote in for her. And you're talking about democracy being taken away. They took it away from you when they did that. They gave you a candidate that you didn't vote for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people who want totalitarian power do. This is a guy we want you to have. Are you going to have him? Okay, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, you didn't vote for him or her.
Because if you own a business, before you hire an employee, you're going to check them out. If you have any kind of a brain in your head at all, you're going to check references, and you're going to check everything out about them that you possibly can in a nice way. So, I mean, before you hire them, that's just what you do. And people don't think that hiring the president of the United States is that big of a deal. It is. It really is.
It's massive. And it's like, so we have, I love it when people like on this job. So we have somebody that has claimed that they had bed bugs. Okay. Very early on they claimed they had bed bugs. There was no bed bugs. There's never been any bed bugs because when they moved out of that room, we gave that room to somebody else after a clean. There was no bed bugs. Okay. Then her and some other girls sat down. They were telling me the migratory lifestyle of bed bugs and how they did this and how they did that. And then one of the girls actually said, "Oh, I don't know what a bed bug looks like." And I'm looking at the guy like, are you that dumb that you've just told me you know all of this stuff about bed bugs, but you don't know what they look like? Okay, so then she went to the employer, not us, sorry, the client, and told them about the problem, which is a no-no. You don't tell the client anything. So the client was then concerned, and we had to stop doing certain things. She now messaged me yesterday because we're now 10 weeks down the line, and she's been put in other hotels because we had to move people around. And she's saying, "Yeah, I've been staying in other hotels, but not one that you give me because I just can't. They're PTSD from this and that. So I need you to reimburse me for the cost." I found out today that she's actually in one of our hotels, staying with another person in their room. So basically, what she's telling me is a load of lies. So we're concocting a thing, going, okay, just send us the receipts. Send us the receipts, and we'll review. Because if they are fake, if they are manufactured, we've had people do that before.
There they are.
Yes, we've had one where it didn't have the hotel name on it, and the person's name was in a different font. And it was the same one for like 6 different people, just the name changed with like you could see the white out. Just like, okay, so this is all fake. And they go, no, it's not. It's not. It's all for the same price. Yeah, okay. They were all terminated, and we told them we were lucky they weren't charged with fraud.
How it is. Guys, we're going to call it a day. Rick, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. Hang around so we can get you set up for next month. And thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate all the emails. It makes my day. Thank you so much for doing that. It makes me feel so special. Send those emails to Donna at donnasedge.com, and I'll do my best to give you the show that you're looking for. See you next time.